that. Okay, so I've turned recording on. I don't need to do that. We're going to talk a little bit about sending the MOU amendments for the Race to the Top. I went back through a couple videos and realized that I hadn't done that, but that'll only take a couple minutes. I did get a message from OEC saying that some people, some councils had the wrong budget amounts in sugar. And so I wanted to take a couple little polls and see how that's going. Right now, while we're waiting, does anybody have some questions they would like answered during this call? And you can either type the question in or turn on your microphone and say what you would like. Good morning, Elizabeth, Katie, Holly, and Sharon. When we know better, we do better. I like that, Katie. I'm just waiting a couple minutes to see if anybody has any additional things they want to talk about while we're waiting for the last few people to sign in and sign on. Hi, Mandy. Nicole asks is there a way to archive spending records from 2015 to 2016? Okay, Phil likes the budget actuals questions. Great. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get started with the MOU process. So the first step is for me to move my screen so you can see it. Okay, so this is for Race to the Top. I'm going to go ahead and go into the build test, and you can see that we only have on the build test, we have school readiness and Race to the Top. The deadline is already passed for school readiness. With Race to the Top, I'm going to look, and right now on this, I only have one application. There happens to be an error, but we can still see what we need to do. Okay, if you already had a MOU, so this would be for last year, what you need to do is click on Actions and then Send MOU Amendment. So that's all you need to do is click on Actions, and there is a document that essentially what it does is just extend the deadline from June 30th, 2016 into this year for providers to spend money that they already have. So this would be for providers that already had funds from last year. You can see that there were funds approved from last year, and they would need the amendment. So again, it's just going into the application, clicking Actions, and choosing Send Amendment. Are there any questions on that? I don't see any questions. Okay, so we're going to do a poll. And the first question is, how many of you, let's see, there are 19 on the call now, how many of you feel comfortable with your budgets in sugar? So I'll put the poll question there. And so while you're answering that, essentially what I mean is, on the funding stream, if we go into the QI dollars detail, you need to have at least this other direct QI budget, the QI dollars reserved for participants, and then if you do external coaching, you'll have to have hours here. If you do, internal coaching or external coaching, or both. If you don't have those numbers in, then your funding stream won't work for applications. Okay, one has said that they feel confident. I'm going to go to the article as well. I talked about this on a previous sugar call, but I just want to go to the solutions under step 2, setting up the funding stream record is where the information is. Still working out with OEC to get the correct numbers in. Not comfortable, okay. Well, still, we've only heard from 3. One is another not comfortable. One is comfortable. Still working on it, okay. One of the challenges that I've seen when I've been helping people with their budgets is it wasn't clear on some of the submissions on what the QI dollars were versus, you know, the internal coaching and the external coaching. You know, there are dollars associated with coaching and there are dollars associated with the materials. And there was a little bit of confusion also on the budget as far as, you know, what's discretionary. So actually we have about half that are comfortable and half that are not comfortable. And so if someone is brave enough to I don't know if it is a sugar question or if it's sort of like an OEC question on sort of what's allowed. So does everybody understand what you need to do in sugar to put your existing budgets in. So if anybody feels like chatting, I'd appreciate it so I can understand in more detail on what we need to do to make sure everybody's comfortable. Oh, Kathleen will want to chat. She's out of town. I have been doing a lot of problem solving with individuals, and I'm certainly happy to do that. Sometimes it does take some more discussions with OEC on, on some particulars on moving things around, so budget changes and things like that. So sometimes I can help and sometimes I can't. But make sure the real key is that these funding streams really are driving so much of the funds and the coaching. So if they aren't right, it really doesn't help you manage, or sometimes you can't even do anything. So I really want everybody to be comfortable with what's in their budget as well as what's in sugar. Any other specific questions I can help on? Or do the ones that we're not comfortable? Nicole said, I'm unsure if our numbers agree with OEC. And so is that because of the way that your budget looks? Or is it the way of where you think numbers go in sugar? Okay, the way the budget looks. I think we're secure with entering in sugar. That's, I really would like to get some more help for folks, and maybe meet with me understanding the way the budgets are better as I go to each one. I can help each individual. The CCAP QI funding formula is confusing to me, so I can check sugar to see the allocations are correct. So Tina, are you saying on, when I'm going to bring up a spreadsheet. So I'm going to do the funding. So these complicated formulas, saying that if you have one classroom and then CCAP enrollment over 36 at level 1, then you have $6,500. Okay, I need to meet with I think Phil's on the call. Okay. Phil, do you understand these formulas really well?
No, unfortunately I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, do you know who would be the best person for me to talk to at OEC with these formulas?
Let me check with the QI specialist. Usually they have somebody who really knows each of the funding streams really well. If they don't, then I'll check with either Karen or Stacy and see if we can't get like a little more thorough walkthrough on that.
Okay, so
I'm going to step away from the desk here for a minute and go check with them.
Oh, thanks. Okay. Okay. Cool. Tina, they should match in sugar. Essentially OEC did is they gave the spreadsheets to our programmers, and the programmers put in based on what the providers put in their applications. We have had some interesting issues, like for home providers, that they didn't really understand the question for classrooms. For example, they said that they had 4 classrooms because they had a living room, a dining room, kitchen and, you know, and bedroom that maybe they used for different things. So there were some of those issues, but Tina, are you finding that they don't match? Oh, okay. So yes, for the home health care. So Tina, after I get a response from Phil, I'm going to go over these and make sure, first of all, that they're all correct. Second of all, that they that everybody understands them. And they aren't easy to understand because you can see how many different. So like for CCAP, it depends on how many classrooms, what the enrollment is, what level they are, and it changes depending on like which program you're in.
Sorry.
No, no problem. Stacy, are you there, Stacy?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, this was one of the, I know you just got on the phone, but this was one of the questions you had, Anna. You got on, and Phil is going to be checking with, you know, the people at OEC who the best person is to talk. So I first can understand all the points on, you know, and how the funding as well as the coaching is entered in sugar, as well as, you know, what the flexibility is.
Yeah, and I'm sorry I'm late. I was talking to Monica Carr and kind of bringing her up to speed about some of those questions, and I reached out to Michelle as well, and so we'll be able to loop people in and make sure everybody's on the same page.
Okay, just to catch you up, is that my first question was, you know, how many feel comfortable with their budget amounts in sugar? And about half felt comfortable, half did not. And one of the questions came up specifically is those allocation formulas, because they're confusing.
Yes, absolutely. For us, on top of the ones that I've shared with you with RTT, ITQA, the way we do QI money is completely different and based on assessments and capital improvement plans, depending on if they have licensing issues and all sorts of other things. So I go in and forfeit those QI funds until we decide as a 1291 committee exactly how funds are being allocated, so we can do it once and do it exactly the way we need it to be.
So you have a lot of flexibility as far as, instead of those actual formulas, where you know, set your own dollars and coaching hours?
Yes, because with 1291, my guess is, and Monica kind of confirmed this, 1291 is done very differently in probably all the councils who have it, and so the work we're doing in our work plans could be very different. So having random allocations for us just doesn't jive with the work plan that we have approved by the state.
So that's one issue that I really wasn't aware of, the work plans. How many have different work plans than sort of the standard allocations?
I think whoever else is on the call who may have 1291, you're probably going to need to chime in. But even within our council, in Eagle County, the way they allocate coaching is different the way Pitkin County does it.
Oh.
Yeah, so in Eagle County, they have an allocation based on how many classrooms. So if they have 1 or 2 classrooms, they get 30 hours of coaching per classroom. If they have 3 or more, they get 20 hours of coaching per classroom because they don't need 30 in each when there's that many. They're able to kind of build off of those things. So, but in Pitkin County, they are doing it based on the need, you know, the level of the program, what their actual needs are, and basing a number of hours off the individual work plan per program.
Okay.
So even within my council area, it differs because each of my counties has a work plan within our overall council budget.
That's news to me.
Yeah. So it's very different.
What's 1291?
The infant toddler quality and access quality.
ITQA?
ITQA. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Those 1291 is the number of like the House bill or, you know, something like that, and ITQA is the abbreviation.
Oh, okay. Thanks. I feel like I should know everything like that, but I don't.
Well, we all get used to using abbreviations, and then we forget what they're for.
Okay. Thank you. I really appreciate those details.
Yeah.
With the so one is that sort of a to-do. Okay. I just looped Michelle and Monica from OEC. They will be joining in a moment to hopefully assist with any budget/actual figures and maybe talk about the spreadsheet too. Cool. Phil, do you know how soon they'll be here? How much I should tread water or and go to the next questions?
I'd say feel free to proceed for the moment while they jump in. You know, that we can always just loop right back.
Okay, that sounds fine. Okay, so we had a question, is there a way to archive spending records from 2015 to 2016? And sort of I'd like a little bit more detail on what you mean by archiving records. Because we've archived the applications so they don't interfere, but people still need to do reports on 2015, 2016.
Good morning.
Good morning.
That was my question.
Who's this?
So I've got a couple of requests that have already popped up, and I'm trying to focus on just those. And mostly it's just kind of hard sorting through what's already there. So I was wondering if there's like a way to filter out what is already done so I could focus on the new requests.
Okay. So are you talking about applications, or are you talking about spending, or what?
The spending.
Okay. So let me open up or try to drag this over. So can you tell me, actually, it's like, what would you like to see here? When I can see everybody's. How would you like me to filter this for you?
Well, what I normally do is I list it by the status, so it shows up what is the requests and what is currently ordered, what's currently, what's the word, approved.
Okay, so I'm going to go into the funding, the create filter, and go to the status, and is any of, and what did you say? You said ordered?
Usually I start with requests and also the ordered. Yeah.
Oh.
Received requests. There it is.
Right, this one? Okay. So we've narrowed it some, but we can also add another filter if we want. So, you know, we could put, I'm just looking for the date fields. They have date created as well as invoice date. So if I wanted to do invoice date is after, let's do July 1st. That will, you know, that narrows some of it. So is there something else that you're looking, because this is how I would do it if I were working on it, until they will be archiving, stuff that's no longer used after everybody is done with, the old records. But, until now, I just use the filter that's here. Is that good enough?
Yeah, I think that'll be a big help. I think that's what I was looking for the time being. Thank you.
Oh, okay, good. So again, what I did is I'm going to start again just to review. So I went to spending, and I'll get rid of these two filters and put them back in. If it's not there, I click create, and then status is any of, back entered, and then whichever other one you want. Like, let's say I want pre-approved, and then I added another option over here with this plus on the right, and I chose invoice date is after August 1st. I mean, July 1st. Cool. I'm going to go back to the agenda. Okay, so what we did is we just talked here about filtering. And I will be adding these notes to the Friday calls. So when you look at so I'm going into forums, and then, oops. Where did they go? There they are, recorded webinars and trainings. So Friday support calls. So I'm putting these notes in as we do the calls. So you can sort of search and then figure out which call you want to look at. Bill, did we get Monica or Michelle yet?
I'm not sure. Let me go see. Oh.
Hi, I'm on the phone. This is Michelle.
Hey, Michelle.
I'm not able to see. I'm not able to see the screen though. For some reason, the GoToMeeting screen will not come up for me. They said there's some kind of error with the syntax.
Oh, bummer.
So trying to figure this out while I'm listening to you.
Okay. Let me. I wonder why the syntax is not. Did you go from this GoToMeeting join 9239276 or 76 this link?
Yeah.
Huh.
So it's all right. So what questions do you have? I'm going to try and answer them without actually seeing what you guys are looking at.
Okay. Okay. One of the questions came up while you were not on the call is I was asking on the funding streams because we've had some questions, that about half of the people said they were comfortable with the funding streams and half said that they were not with the budgets. And the general part is that they understood how to put things in, in Sugar, but the specific question came up with the allocation of dollars depending on, the number of classrooms, the level, and all that. Understanding this complex spreadsheet, it sort of one is just understanding this, but then what part of the discussion that came up is that a lot of people don't even use those standard allocations for QI dollars and coaching. They have different work plans. And so one of the questions I actually had is how many people use those standard allocations versus how many, don't?
That's a great question, and I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my understanding is that right now there's several councils that have been dealing with errors in that's been popping up on sugar, and we are working through trying to find out where the issues are, and so that we can start correcting some of this that's been happening on there.
Yeah, I would love that too, to find out, get to the bottom of, what the issue is. If it's inputting, if it's understanding. I do know that quite a few people have questioned this, understanding this. So are you the best person to sort of explain it to me so I can create a better article on how the allocation goes?
Probably not.
Okay.
Probably not. So yeah, so what we're looking at, right, that we have a suspicion of is that it might be a possible miscommunication between Salesforce and Sugar.
Okay.
That could be one. There's so many different things that have been happening, I guess, simultaneously with both databases that we're not quite sure if one or maybe several of these changes triggered what's been happening with numbers that councils are seeing on their sugar account. So the only thing I can say is that hopefully everyone knows their budget, and the money's there. If it doesn't show up on sugar, or if it shows more than what you should have on sugar, trust your budget and stick to that budget, because the money's there. That's allocated in your budget.
Well, these numbers that are here, like in their QI dollars, each council has to input their own money. So on the top level, that, it really is up to the council to put these numbers in. So I don't know if that's an issue, but like when you look at each individual application, that was the question that came up during this call. But again, if people are having problems putting this in, then then they need to let me know so we can make sure the numbers are correct. Do you think it's at this level, Michelle?
It's a possibility. I really don't know. That's just that we're in the beginning stages of just trying to figure out what happened and how it can be fixed. So I don't have any answers as to what could have created the issue in the first place.
Okay.
But we are aware of it, and we're looking into it.
Okay. Yeah. Definitely keep me in the loop. I'd appreciate it. There, Tina just added, my concern is that before I approve CCAP MOU, I want to make sure that the amount they are awarded, both in QI dollars and coaching hours, is correct. So that, sort of comes back to the, I think, understanding this. And I was at one council, let's see if I can find their records, and she did a good job of sort of creating a spreadsheet and actually guessing based on these before, before they actually looked at the application. And so, she just had like level 1, level 2, and how many classrooms, and then looked it up for the CCAP. So Tina, we might be able to work that out too. So if you could send me an email. Oh, Stacy. It was Stacy, I could have guessed.
I'm the crazy one who likes putting forms together.
Yes. Yeah, I should have
That's
guessed
a
it
good
was.
thing, though, Stacy.
Yeah. Okay. And Julie.
You want me to tell that to you, Rick?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do it right now.
Okay. While we're waiting, are there other questions? Because obviously this is one of those things that we're working on deciding where the problems were. And a lot of the problems that I had, individually with folks was because people didn't understand the budget allocations. It really wasn't, they needed instruction on how to put the numbers in sugar, but once they put them in, that was fine. Julia said we had to adjust our all funds to meet the budget because our budget does not match the formulas. The only ones we didn't change were Race to the Top. And Julia, can you say why? Do you have a separate agreement or work plan like was mentioned before? We got some, haven't heard, we have time, I'll be following up with what Michelle and Phil and Monica, and let's see if I got the email from, nope. Do we have another question while we're waiting for responses? Okay, I'm looking through my email. I got actually a lot of out of offices. Oh, here we go. Here's Stacy's spreadsheet. Actually, it's a really simple one. This is for, Stacy, why don't you explain this? I'm going to make it bigger.
Okay, so so this was based on the spreadsheet that we all got a little over a year ago, where it had $500 per coaching credit, $300 per QI or flex credit. And so this first block is for family child care homes. They are considered one classroom, and so they get 2 coaching credits or $1,000 for coaching at level 2, and they also get $600 of QI at level 2, and then at level 3 to 5, they would get $900 that are really flex credits, but that money can be shared between coaching and QI, but it is really based on the program's decision. And what we've been doing, talking with programs and saying, we'd really recommend the idea of putting a little bit of money into coaching at level 3 to 5 so they can meet with a coach, develop a QIP, and kind of have a plan in place at the very least. So they would know how to spend those dollars and do it in the best possible way.
Which funding stream is this?
Race to the Top.
Okay. And And you said something that was, I've been out on the field. You said that family child care homes it really only counts as one classroom?
Yes.
Okay, if they have an AM and PM program, it still only counts as one?
That's
Well,
correct.
those are different sessions, but there's still one classroom.
Okay, because that makes it simple.
Yeah, so it's based on the physical space, not on how many sessions they have.
Right, but if they do any family child care classrooms like have 4 employees, so they have 2 different classrooms?
I would suppose that's possible if they have a separate building or something different than a regular classroom, in which case it would make sense for them to become a small center.
Okay, so
versus a family child care home, because then they qualify for more funding. But even a large family child care home where they can have 7 children is still one classroom.
okay. So it'd be very unusual for a family child care home to have more than one classroom.
Yeah, they would have to have a separate building. I don't know if others are on the line that have something like that happens. I'd be interested to hear about it.
Does anybody
Are there any questions about this family child care home allocation? And Michelle and I worked on this together and putting this sheet together. And I've also talked with Angie Shehorn as recently as the last council meeting and asked her, and she said yes, it was the exact same allocation she was using.
Do you want to do the centers?
Sure. So for the centers, again, you can see on the gold bars whether it's level 2 or levels 3 through 5. And so under level 2, if they have 1 to 3 classrooms, they get 3 coaching credits or $1,500. And for QI, they would get $900. And then if they have 4 or more classrooms, it would be $2,000 in coaching and $1,200 in QI. And then similar breakout for levels 3 through 5 as it was above is they get flex dollars only, and it shows you 1 to 3 classrooms versus 4 or more. And when we have programs hitting levels 3 to 5, we are having conversations, one, to congratulate programs on their great accomplishment of getting to the high quality levels, and then talking to them about their options instead of saying, here's your QI dollars and trying to talk them out of it and putting some in coaching. We're having an initial conversation with them about the importance of coaching and how they might want to at least allocate a couple hours so that they can meet with a coach, develop a QIP, and be able to kind of set a course for how they can increase quality in their program. In Pitkin County, for us over in the Aspen area, they have a lot of QI support in that county because they have a tax initiative. And so those programs have been choosing to transfer all their QI dollars to coaching because that isn't as well funded. So that's where, you know, having those conversations up front have been really great.
Can you describe flex funding a little more?
The funding they have, like in Pitkin?
Well, does flex funding mean, to me, based on what you said, is like they have $1,500, but they could use it either for coaching or for QI dollars. Is that what you mean?
Yes, because they can transfer QI to coaching. The program can choose to transfer some of it to coaching. You can't go the other way. You can't go from coaching to QI, but they can choose to go from QI dollars to coaching. And so we're just having that conversation to say, because there is an automatic coaching allocation at level 3 to 5, you know, we're able to talk to them and say, we would recommend that you put 3, maybe 4 hours of this money towards coaching so that you can work with a certified coach and develop a quality improvement plan, look at and evaluate that rating and see where you could really use the help and where you get the biggest bang for the buck, and chart a course for how you continue to improve on your quality. And every single program has said that would be wonderful. And they have taken us up on that, but we simply put it out there as a recommendation and explain why. And then the program can make that choice. And then I developed a transfer form so I could have documentation where directors can sign off on their choice if they would like to transfer some money to coaching.
Okay, cool. Monica, Michelle, are you still on the call?
Yes, I am.
Now, I just want to make sure that this isn't just, you know, for Stacy's program, that this is for all, or is this just how it's implemented for Stacy's councils?
No, this is how it's implemented statewide.
Okay, cool. Do either one of you have any additional notes that you wanted to mention? I brought these 2 notes up.
I would say the only, oh, go ahead, Michelle, please.
Sorry, Stacy. So the only thing I would probably add is that if they're an alternative pathway or if they've applied for the QI funds while they're in level 3 through 5 without being without going through level 2, they can only apply once.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. So if a program gets rated to the top at level 3 through 5 and then they drop to a level 2, they can't apply again.
Okay.
And similarly, yeah, other programs who have, went in with the previous Qualistar rating, if they let their rating lapse for whatever reason, when they get back to level 2, they don't qualify for level 2 funds.
Did I capture the 2 statements okay in these notes?
Yes.
Yes. And I guess the only change I would make to this would be on levels 3 through 5. I might call those flex dollars as opposed to QI funds, because I think QI funds denotes funding for materials and those kinds of things, versus having the conversation about them being flex dollars that we're having with programs that they're receiving really well.
Did you mean to change?
In looking at whether they want to put some into coaching, keep it all in QI.
So change this label like I just did?
So, I'm sorry, I walk and talk at the same time.
Okay, it was QI
yes.
dollars, and I put flex dollars here. Okay.
Yes. And they'd probably apply up above with the family homes too, at that same level 3 to 5.
Oh.
I like the idea of calling them flex dollars for 3 to 5, because then it implies that we talk about it and decide what is the best allocation based on what the program feels would suit their needs best.
Okay, cool. Well, I will include this document with our, with the Friday meeting video. There's a typo. Somebody said qualify, should be qualify, not quality. Good catch, Chrissy. Okay, we have a couple questions. One asks, Stacy, do you have the same easy to read chart for CCAP?
I haven't developed one yet, but I'm certainly going to, and when I do, I will share it with everybody.
Cool. Thank you. Another question that came up is what happens if our budget does not have enough to give these awards?
So this is when the encumbrance fund account will be coming into play. We're still in the process of setting it up because we are still closing out last fiscal year and getting final numbers of how much money is actually left over to put into this encumbrance account. But once a council has run low or run out of Race to the Top QI funds and they still have programs that are applying for them, then in theory, the way this account is supposed to work is then you notify us and then you're able to draw down from this account without having to make any changes to your budget or anything like that. But that's just in theory. I have not received any hard confirmation on how exactly this account is supposed to work. But they are in process of still closing out last state fiscal year, and then we'll be working on opening this encumbrance account for all councils to be able to draw down from.
Do you have any idea when that will be? We'll know?
Nope, because that's the same question I keep asking. Do you have any idea when this is going to be? And I keep getting told it's in the works.
Yeah, and I
let
keep
everyone know once it's available.
Yeah, I keep getting the same question. And I keep saying the same answer too. That you know, we'll let you know as soon as we know.
Right. So what we've been asking councils to do for now is to, if you are out of funds and you have programs that are still applying, put them on a wait list. And as soon as the encumbrance account opens, then you'll be able to draw down money to then approve these programs.
So did I capture your words well enough if I spell right?
Yes. Yep, that's perfect.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, are there any other questions since we have these illustrious people that have been giving so much comments, the wonderful comments, Stacy and Michelle and Phil and everybody else. Any other questions while everybody's still here?
This is Stacy. I would just encourage everyone to always trust their budget, like Michelle said, and not just trust whatever, you know, the formulas and things put in there. Make sure that you're looking at your numbers and make sure you know what you're putting in there and ask questions.
Great comment. Yeah, the program sugar is just what people put in, and it's really important for you to understand your budget, trust your budget. I agree very much. Thank you. Okay, I don't see or hear any more comments. So I really enjoyed the session, and I always love it when I'm not the only one talking. So thank you all that have contributed, both by listening and by talking. Have a wonderful Friday.
Thanks, Rick. Take care.
Thanks, Phil.
Have a good day, Rick. It's Stacy. Or should we just stay on, or do we log back in for Sugar Advisory?
Yeah, let's. There's a different login for the advisory, so okay. I'm gonna close this meeting and then open the other one.
Okay, I'll talk to you in a second.
Okay.
All right, bye.
Thank you.